Hello friends, welcome to Stamp with Julie Baum. Today I'm going to show you a cute card made with the Adorable Owls stamp set. Now this is part of the celebration and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Let me show you the card that was made at Stamp Club, and then the card I'm going to do in today's tutorial is just slightly different. The colors are different. So if you came to Stamp Club in January of 2023 and want to see the directions and be reminded of the dimensions of this card, this tutorial is for you. But during the tutorial, I am going to use different colors and a couple of different products, just so you'll have a second idea of how to make the same card. I will be substituting one or two products, but the idea is pretty much the same. So this is January of 2023. I do have a host code, and I'll put that here on the screen for you. If you do not already order your Stampin' Up! Products through a demonstrator, I would invite you to go to my store and place your order. At the checkout, you'll put in this host code, and this host code is good through the end of January. I also want to make sure that I do welcome you and invite you to subscribe. If you are not currently a subscriber of my YouTube channel, please subscribe and also click the notification bell so that you will be notified each time I put up a new video here on my channel. So today's card tutorial, as I mentioned, is a project that we made at Stamp Club this month. This is the stamp set, Adorable Owls. It is found in the Celebration brochure. During January and February, Celebration is going on, and this is just one of the free gifts that you can select with a $50 order. Now, there's no better time than Celebration to bump up those order totals or to go back and restock things that you use regularly because of the wonderful $50 and $100 level gifts that you can earn with your purchases. So do keep that in mind. Also happening now is the January through April mini catalog. And in a prior video, the Stamp Club project number 1 from this month, I showed a cute card, a rabbit in the rain, and that one was made with the Rain or Shine suite of products. And then today, Stamp Club Project 2 is going to be this owl card. So let's begin. I'm starting with a piece of thick white cardstock. So I use our basic white cardstock all the time, but I do prefer a thick white cardstock if it's going to be my card base. And in this case, this is our base. So this measures 4 1/4 by 11. I have scored it at 5 1/2 inches, and I'm going to fold and crease it. Okay, then let me tell you all of your layers because you can completely substitute other papers. So let me give you the dimensions of the layers and then you'll know where to go from there. So you're going to need a panel that is going to fit on the front of the card, slightly smaller than the card. So this piece measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now on this card, I am using Calypso Coral. On the card from Club, we used Fresh Freesia. Okay, so you're going to need that piece. Then you're also going to need a solid piece of cardstock. Now this can be the same color as this. On the Club card, we used Fresh Freesia for both. Today's card, I'm going to use Mango Melody for this piece. And this is, I try not to use 1/8 or 16ths except when necessary, but today we're using some 1/8. So this is 3 1/8 by 4 5/8. So that's that piece. And then you'll need one more strip of solid cardstock. Again, it can, all 3 pieces can match, or you can mix and match. So this one is 1 1/4 by 5 1/4, also Mango Melody. Okay, then you're gonna need some designer series paper. So here are the pieces that you'll need. This is going to be your main focal image background. This piece measures 3 inches by 4 1/2 inches. That little piece with the 1/8, the 3 1/8 by 4 5/8, that's going to back this with a tiny little border around it. See that? All right, so this is 3 by 4 1/2. Then you're going to need a coordinating piece of designer series paper. This one measures 1 inch by 5 inches. Then I'm using a third pattern of designer series paper that also coordinates. All right. So this one measures 1 and 5 inches. Let me double check. Yep. 1 and 5 inches as well. And the final piece measures 2 by 5 inches, 2 inches by 5 inches. So those are all the dimensions. Then I have a couple of small white scraps that we will use along the way. And I also have die cut a circle. Now I'm still using the retired stitched shapes. I keep trying to purchase the new stylish shapes dies, and they are still out of stock. So I reached to my stitched shapes and used the largest circle to cut this out. Okay, so let's put some of our pieces together and then we'll do our stamping. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is attach my panel onto my card base. In review, this piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach some of that designer series paper to this layer. All right, so it's my 2 inch by 5 and my 1 inch by 5. And when I place these on, for the most part, I am looking at the border of Calypso Coral cardstock that's showing around it. And I'm going for a very small border, probably about 1/8 of an inch. So top, bottom, and sides are about as equal as I can do without actually measuring. So here, here, and here. And actually I'm going to use my grid mat that I've got here. That will also help me eyeball if it's straight. Liquid glue is the winner here because you can slide your piece around a little bit if you need to before you get it placed right where you want it. Then the 2 inch by 5 inch piece. And same thing, I'm going to be looking at the top, the bottom, and this time the right margin. I'm not worrying about the center at all. So I'm going to place that. See, I need to slide it up a little bit. Thank you, liquid glue. All right, let's get a look at that. Okay, that one is in place. Then to cover this middle part, we're going to use a little piece to cover those seams. And that is where this comes in. So I've got my Mango Melody cardstock, 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. And my designer series paper, this print, this is 1 inch by 5 inches. And this is meant to be kind of subtle. So I like how the designer series paper is subtle and kind of blends in with the cardstock. So this is much bolder and this is kind of subtle how it blends in. That was a little bit by design. You almost can't go wrong when you're choosing your designer series paper because the pieces that you pick from a certain packet are all going to coordinate nicely together. So some may be better than others or might be more pleasing to your eye, but you're going to have a lot of luck coordinating your papers when you pull DSP from the same pack. Which reminds me, I didn't tell you, these papers are from a large, like a bonus size pack of paper. This is the Dandy Designs 12 by 12. This is a celebration gift with a $100 purchase. The papers in here are absolutely gorgeous. It's really hard to show on camera because it's a huge pack. You get 4 of each of the designs. So there's a lot of papers in there, but let me pull it up here in the celebration brochure so you can just get a peek. So it's the Dandy Designs 12 by 12, and you can see all of the different prints. All right, there are 48 sheets in this pack of paper, so it's going to give you lots of options. The card we made at Club was made with paper from this same pack. So like I said, the card I'm making in today's tutorial is just a little variation by changing the papers. Okay, beautiful pack of paper. All right, so we've got this ready to attach. And if you're stamping along with me, this is where I say, be careful and don't stamp too far ahead of me, because I've got one thing to be able to warn you about before you get too far. So as you're gluing, don't glue these pieces yet. Okay, so this is kind of nice. This will line up with the edges of your Calypso Coral cardstock, and it covers up the seams of those. Very nice. You could probably even, if you had a little skimpy piece of your 1x5 or your 2x5, because this covers it a little. So you might be able to get by with even a little bit narrower piece there if you had to. Okay, that's several layers. So I just want to make sure that I give them a good press and everything is adhered down nicely. Okay, now the reason I said there's a little warning is I don't want you to attach these yet, because we're going to wrap our ribbon around this section. And if you've already glued it down, you won't be able to do that. So we're going to set this aside. Go ahead and attach this. Like I had mentioned, this is the main focus paper. I think these are more like the backgrounds. This is going to be the background right behind your featured image. So in this instance on the card, I chose this paper first. I knew I wanted to use it, and then I selected the coordinating papers to go with it. That's how I did it. Sometimes you need to choose based on what you have. If you don't have any Mango Melody cardstock, but you do have Calypso Coral, sometimes you lean that direction. Maybe you only have fresh Freesia, and that's what we used on this card. So see what you have, look at the colors in the designer series paper, and go from there. Okay, now on this one, I'll show you at the end, the Stamp Club card, how we wrapped the ribbon around. I'm going to do a similar method, but we used a much narrower ribbon on that card. So on that one, we took our green, our Parakeet Party green ribbon and wrapped it around here twice. That's how we did that, and then added our bow. This ribbon is a little bit wider, 1/4 inch, and so I am only going to, I think I'm just going to wrap this around once instead of twice. Now that I've said that, I'm going to take a peek and see if 2 times will work, or if it's just too much. The other ribbon is much narrower, and so it wraps easier. Yeah, I'm just going to do 1. So I'm going to cut off a length of this that is probably about 6 inches or less. Yeah, you can get by with between 5 and 6 inches. And I just grabbed a white sparkly ribbon out of my collection. The name on it is Snowflake Splendor. So I imagine it was in a holiday catalog at one point. I really couldn't say right this minute if it was in the 2021 or if it was prior. I'm going to take a little bit of my tear and tape. I need 2 snippets of this, about 1 inch long. Okay, and back to the piece that I'm going to wrap. So I'm coming up about 1/3 of the way up this piece. Not quite half, okay, so about 1/3. And I'm just gonna tack this on the back with my piece of tear and tape. That's gonna hold it. That's gonna do double duty because we'll also use it to stick it to the card front. And then I can wrap this around the front, nice and straight, and tack it on the back. Now, what I've done by using this little wrapping trick is I've saved a lot of ribbon because I didn't need to go all the way around. So I easily saved 3 or 4 inches of ribbon here. And it also keeps it nice and flat, so I don't have a lot of ribbon here on the back. In fact, if you overdo it, you can even trim that away. Okay, at this point, I am going to add extra adhesive to this so I can attach it to my card front. It's your choice at that point. You've already got some tear and tape. You can add some extra tear and tape, or you could come in with your liquid glue and add that. All right, the choice is yours. So I'm gonna release the backings on this. There's my double duty. So it's holding down the ribbon, and it's also gonna act as adhesive as I move forward to attach that to the card front. And I am just gonna go ahead and use tear and tape. I'm on a tear and tape roll. So get a couple of these pieces. I don't need too much on the sides because I've already got those two. So I'll just add a little more. Let's just add this piece and one more. All right, give that a good press so it's stuck down to your paper before you go to try to peel off the backing. All right, these pieces, I already removed the backing and that one. Okay, so all of this now is ready to go front and center on our card front. Now you can see how those background papers truly are in the background, and this paper is the star. I love this. It's the first time I've actually used these prints, and they feel so happy. I like how it looks. Okay, let's do our stamping. So we'll set that aside. I've got my owl, and in this instance, I am using the owl with the little party hat on it. Here is my circle that I die cut. We'll get this inked up in Memento Black ink, and we'll do a little bit of coloring with Stampin' Blends. Now, this owl barely fits on the circle. He's gonna go right from his toes to the top of the hat, and I'm gonna fill my circle. Oh, let me come up a little bit into your view a little better. There you go. All right, if you prefer stamping on a scrap and then cutting it out, you're welcome to do that. I feel like in this case, you could do it either way. Okay, I'm going to use my Smoky Slate Stampin' Blends, starting with light. And I'm gonna fill in the part that is the owl's face. I'm using the brush end of the marker, which gives me a lot of coverage. It's pretty much the fastest way to color with blends. If you feel like you need a little more control, of course you can use the other end, the bullet end. When I was looking at these owl images in the set, for some reason it kind of occurred to me that it would be a lot of coloring. But now that I've used it a couple times, it really goes quite fast. And you don't have to color in the whole thing. You could kind of just make some wispy little strokes and make it look a little bit more like feathers if you wanted to do that. And it would be even faster. But you'll see this isn't going to take but a couple of moments. All right, now I'm using the skinny side or the bullet end of my light Smoky Slate to color the tummy. I think I'll go ahead and do the feet in the same color. At this point, I'm trying to not really stretch out the coloring part. I mean, you could probably use lots of different colors and it would take that much more time. Okay, so now I've moved to dark Smoky Slate for the accent part on his head. I like the grays. I think this owl would look so cute with white and tan and brown. Gray. You could do lots of, you could make it a pink owl, I think, if you wanted, and it would still be adorable. these Stampin' Blends are buildable in color. So even if you're just using the light of a color and you go back over the area a second time, it will deepen and intensify the color. So it's nice. I think of it a lot like makeup that is buildable. You know, you can kind of put on a light foundation, or sometimes you can build it up for more coverage. I feel like the Stampin' Blends do the same thing. Okay, back to the light, just for coloring the eyes. And leaving that little white accent circle, leaving that clear. All right, I think I'll use Calypso. All right, here's Calypso Coral in the light. I'm hesitating because I'm not sure about the beak. You know, I'm going to change my mind. On a previous card, I think it was the, it was the bunny and the fox card. In order to get the look of Mango Melody, because there is no Stampin' Blend combination for Mango Melody, I use Daffodil Delight, which is definitely yellow. This is Daffodil Delight Dark. And then I mix in a little bit of Pumpkin Pie Light, and you kind of end up with a Mango Melody look-alike color. All right, so I think that was wise. Okay. And then for the hat, let's do the Calypso Coral. This is Calypso Coral Light. And I'll do the pom-pom in light. And then Calypso Coral Dark for the other stripes. All right. I got a little quiet there. I was thinking about exactly what I wanted to do on this, since I haven't used this color combination yet with my owl. All right, there we have it. So I really like it. I kind of want more Mango Melody on the card, so we will do that with the words, because there's a lot of bright Mango Melody on this. So my little owl piece is just going to get tucked in. I want the ribbon just kind of barely covering the feet, like that. So I will use some liquid glue and attach this. Slip that down in there. Now, if you had preferred, you could go ahead and put your colored owl piece onto this panel and then do your ribbon wrapping. That would work as well. I just knew that I'd be able to slip it in and it would work. Okay, we need to do some words. And so I really like the Hoot Hoot, You're So Cute. And I will use Mango Melody for this next part. And we need a scrap. I did have a little frustration with my Mango Melody pad. I was not getting good images stamped from it. And so, oh, so much better. I took a plastic spoon. You know the trick when you are re-inking your ink pads, and you put your ink on there and then you smush it around and press it down into the pad with your plastic spoon. You know that method? Well, I didn't think it needed more ink. It was just really uneven. So I used my spoon to kind of spread out where I thought the ink was a little heavy, and it really fixed it. So I'm glad we did that. Glad I got that taken care of before filming. Okay, so I'm going to snip the Hoot Hoot words out of here. Even though Hoot Hoot, You're So Cute is very cute, because I'm using the birthday owl or the party owl, I'm going to stamp It's Your Day on the inside. So I just want Hoot Hoot on the front. So using my paper snips and as straight as I could, I'm just cutting those two words out and then apart. Okay, get rid of all of that scrap. One of these I'm going to attach with my liquid glue so that it sits against the owl circle flat. And then for the second one, I'm just going to pop it up with a mini dimensional. And I think one will be enough. It's a really tiny piece of paper. So I'll just put one right in the middle. And raise that second one up. Now, once you get your words cut out, you can play with placement and decide where you want them. That's kind of what I'm doing here. I could put it here. It would be really cute just about anywhere. Since I'm mimicking the one we did in club, I'm going to go ahead and put it there because that's what we did. All right, and there we have it. Now, I want to go back and address this because I feel like it needs a bow. So I'm going to grab a piece of that same ribbon and just make a simple bow, and then we're going to attach it. The card we made at club, we took our narrow ribbon, tucked it into here, and tied the bow that way. All right, I just wanted you to see that. I'm not doing it this time because this ribbon is wider and it's also stiffer. So in this case, I'm just going to make my bow, and I'll be attaching it with a glue dot. I want it tight, but I also want those loops a little bit smaller. So I'm fiddling with it. Okay. And then this is just about finished, and I'll be able to bring in the other card as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a glue dot and attach that. It's kind of sticking up in the image, but I think it's going to be fine. See if I can make my loops a teeny bit smaller and still keep a nice tight bow. Yeah, this ribbon is crisp, I would call it. It's not really stiff, it's just crisp. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Let me trim that down now that I made it smaller. And grab a glue dot. And we'll attach this to the ribbon. All right, we're going to put some words on the inside. There we go. That worked better. It just needed to have a little bit smaller loops. Now I squished them a little. Puff those up. Make sure my glue dot is down really good. I'm super happy. Okay, we're going to add some jewels to the front. Let's go ahead and stamp the inside though. I think I will use Calypso Coral and stamp It's Your Day. I'm going to do a test stamp on my little scrap here. I want to see if this is looking good. It is. All right, we've got our inside done. And now to finish off the front, I'm just going to grab my iridescent rhinestone jewels. There are probably a number of different embellishments that you could choose at this point, but I'm going to use 3 of these. I like how they tend to just kind of pick up the color of whatever you're using. I don't want one here. It looks too busy. I'm still going to go, my first instinct was here, so let's go with that. And a second one, I think I'll go wide and put it on this paper. And then the final one, down here, like so. And there is our completed card. I'm really happy with these colors. I hope that you like them too. Let me show you the one that the gals made at Club. It's slightly different. We used fresh freesia and granny apple green. There's a little bit of Coastal Cabana in the background paper as well. There's our ribbon treatment. Like I said, we wrapped that around twice and then secured the bow. Also used iridescent jewels, and the inside was stamped in granny apple green. There you have it. I want to remind you to be sure and open the description below this video where I put all kinds of helpful information, including the dimensions to all the pieces of paper and also a link so that you can find all of the products that I used today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy stamping.